Again, we're going to talk about the do's that we're doing. So we're going to show you exactly how we do what we do. So if you want to copy that and do the same thing in your class in terms of how to embed the video, how to create the lessons around that, we are going to make sure that that happens. So right now I'm sharing my screen. I'm going to stop sharing now, and I'm going to invite Oliver to go and share his Canvas page. And he's going to show you his use of videos within his class and talk to you more about what his class and his students are doing. So thank you. It's all you, Oliver.
What you see are my classes in my dashboard, and I'll go down to modules.
Oh, we don't see them yet.
You don't see that yet?
No.
Okay, let me go back here. Okay, gotta click there, share screen. I'm sorry.
There you go. And it looks like it's gonna pop up. All right, thank you.
And this is a class in Justice Studies, and this is a class, this is an overview class. And in this particular area, as I started out, and I'm explaining the U.S. Constitution and all those kind of things as to the basic foundation. And I'm into understanding the American criminal justice system. What I have arrayed here are several videos that I drop in out of TED Ed, as well as just off of Zoom. One of the first ones that I end up dealing with is we're talking about a topical area. And to get students to thinking critically is to talk about violence against women. And in this domestic violence area, we're talking about the cycle of violence. We talk about, we have a survivor who gives her story, her testimony. And then we also have one who will end up talking about, as a survivor, as to why she stayed and why she didn't leave, because that's a common theme and question that comes up. I then go into what the penal code says here in the state of California statutory law as to what the law says when we have domestic violence. It's called a corporal injury, and it's talking about relationships and the enhancement of sentencing when one is found guilty in that particular area. The other videos that I have here, and we'll be talking about one in specific, is talking about in the area of criminal law, where I'll be talking about wrongful convictions. And this is one of my cases that I pulled up off of YouTube. His name is Herman Atkins. This is out of Lake Elsinore, California in 1984, where he was arrested for a number of sexual assaults as well as robbery. And it talks about if it hadn't been for the fact that we had DNA rather than a blood type, which is what he was convicted under, he would still be serving 45 to 50 years to life in state prison. And then I have the story of the first person who was cleared by DNA off of death row. This is Kirk Bloodsworth back in Pennsylvania. However, the one, Jessica, we were talking about from yesterday, this is talking about law that has been implemented from U.S. Constitution through the U.S. Supreme Court. They have decided that in the Fourth Amendment, a particular case law called Terry versus Ohio was applicable in this particular case. And this led to a practice in law enforcement called stop and frisk. And this video that I have pulled out in that particular area is by a young man by the name of Taekwon, who talks about the scars of this particular practice being put into place. Even though it's legal under the Fourth Amendment, even though the U.S. Supreme Court has said it's okay to do that, it comes down to a standard that has been practiced and put into place, which is less than probable cause. We call it reasonable suspicion. And with that practice, 80% of the 685,000 people who were stopped and frisked back in New York City were never arrested or ticketed. And on top of that, 88% of them were young men of color, Latinx, as well as African American. So that's how I end up utilizing and within Canvas videos. And what I like about Canvas is the ability to go in and from whatever medium you find it, if there's a foundation, let's say of YouTube, you can just drag and drop it right straight into the lecture at that particular time. And then from there, we end up going into a critical thinking piece with my students in a discussion board type situation of what impression has this made upon them.
Sorry, I was on mute.
Okay.
Oliver, can you show folks, if you scroll back up to the top of your Canvas, and I saw that you did have your learning objectives in the bottom, but at the top, I just want to comment on the layout here. So using pages, the objectives are there. Oliver has them in the bottom, as well as the videos, and then he has the content. So the students working off this page really doing their work. Can you show people just real quickly how you drop a video into a page?
Well, what I would end up doing is
Even if it's the same video, or show them where they go.
Where I would end up going would be to go to Google and just put in YouTube. And in YouTube, I just put in, let's say for this one on scars of stop and frisk, I know the title, Scars of Stop and Frisk. It will take me to it. And then the link, which you see here, which is off of the video as it's being played, I just take that, copy and paste it, and drop it straight into that module or that particular lesson plan that I'm utilizing, and automatically the video is replicated and it's available for use immediately.
Great. And one of the good things about the videos on YouTube is that you can select the closed captioning, so they're captioned videos as well.
Yes.
And then you said that there is a discussion. Where does the discussion happen on your Canvas?
Well, that would happen would be in the area of discussions. So I would carry from here, and I would go into discussion per se, and I would just click into whatever that particular matter is. Like if I was talking about what are the facts of the U.S. Constitution, I would make that up, or what are the scars that would come out of a stop and frisk situation in a high risk community for young men of color. Put that in and give an end date and post it. And immediately it goes out, and you'll give the students a period of time to respond back. Sometimes I will go into breakout rooms while I'm in class with them. That hasn't worked that well. Still moving through that. But I will send it out generally in a group situation and asking them to respond back in a certain period of time, and generally asking at least 2 people to respond back to the responses that they have read, but they cannot read previous responses until they make their own response.
All right, great, thank you. So what we're seeing is, because I'm going to show you another way to do what Oliver is doing in case the Canvas is a bit overwhelming. So there you have the videos. You see the context of the videos because he has put in the context is also making reference, making reference to the legal pieces that the students should know, and then has a coinciding discussion, right, of what they saw. Yes. And Canvas gives you the ability to do that, to supplement. Now it's not supplement, but at the time, if this was face-to-face, and this supplements your teaching of that module. Now that we are doing everything online, the more of this, the better, because it's really going to be one of the modes that you are able to do your lesson. I'm going to show you an example, and I'm actually going to use one of Oliver's videos that he has here as another way to build a lesson around a video. All right, thank you, Oliver. So if you stop sharing for a second.
Okay.
There you go. Thank you. And then I am going to share my screen by saying that it buys me time. Okay. And if you haven't done a lot of share screening yet on Zoom, you need to have your screen ready to go. because when you're doing it in the moment and you're searching for the screen, it becomes very difficult. And know that if you have a lot of tabs open, it's one thing for colleagues to see it, but your students will see what you also have going on. You guys can see that I have a couple of things up here on the top. Just note to self, your students will see what you're shopping for if you have these other tabs open. So that has happened. My students know that I like to watch YouTube videos on planners, just because every time I went to YouTube, they saw everything I looked up at home. So that I made another YouTube account. Anyhow, just know that happens, but students are very nice and very forgiving. So I am at this site, and it's TED Ed, but the URL is, and I will put that in the chat. It is ed.ted.com/educator. And I will make sure that goes into your chat in a minute. Or I'll have Rebecca, can you just put that in the chat for them, please? Thank you. So I'm not sure how many people are familiar with TED Ed. I can see all your faces though, so if you want to raise your hand and let me know if you have done TED Ed. No, okay, good. The shaking of the head, no. Thank you, Oliver has. So TED Ed was our go-to when Canvas did not exist, when Canvas wasn't a platform that everyone had. Back in the day, we used to have many different types of platforms that the colleges were using. We weren't all using the same one as we are now. So maybe some of you remember some of the other ones that we used that weren't as sophisticated as Canvas. And to be honest, some people aren't that comfortable yet with Canvas, and that is fine. I'm one of those people that my shelves look very empty because I had done so much work before Canvas trying to do stuff online with students. And so this was one of my go-tos, and it's TED Ed. It is part of the TED Talk series, so it came out in conjunction with TED Talks. It is for educators, and it's also associated with YouTube. What TED Ed has is, and I'm just going to click on some things so you can just see. In Discover, you can actually see lessons that other educators have made, and you can do a search by topic. So I'm an English instructor, and so I can say, maybe I'm looking for examples of certain types of persuasive writing, so I'm going to look that up. Or I'm teaching a certain literary term, and I want to look that up. It varies. There's a lot of lessons in there. You may find one you like, and you can actually use it, and for your students, or you can create your own. I have found that creating my own is actually a little bit faster, because like all searches, you could be searching forever and then not see something that you really like. So I encourage you, if you use TED Ed, it is free. You just sign in with your work email address, and they'll ask you if you're an educator. And once you're logged in, everything will come back to you in terms of student responses. So I'm just going to click here. You'll see I'm already logged in. And I'm going to show you one that I've done already, and then we're going to build one very quickly together. So under Manage are my lessons. So these are lessons that I've created, and I'm going to go to the published ones so you'll see student responses. So you could have a lot of drafts, and then your last step is to publish one. So I've had classes that have focused on the refugee experience from multiple countries, and some of these videos were about that. I've also focused on education and students' experiences in the educational system, the history of the educational system, and so forth. So some of these videos are about that. So let's just take one of them. I'm looking at this first one here where it says banning Syrian refugees in Southern America. I can see with my numbers down here that 19 students participated in this, and I only made one discussion, so that's why it just says one discussion, because I only made one discussion. So let me show you what it looks like. This is how a student's going to see it once you're done. Do we all see that?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Just need someone to nod. I'm sorry. It's like you're all on mute and I forget you're on mute. So this is actually the way the student will see it, which I kind of like because I already appreciate this more because I think it's more engaging to the student. It also appears really well on their cell phone, and most of our students will likely use their cell phone to do their work remotely. And so this appears very nice on the cell phone. So I write these directions. So this is me. My name's there, so they know it's me. They do give credit to wherever the YouTube video comes from. So this was Vice News. Know that this works only on YouTube videos. So that's just one thing to know. So they can go ahead and watch the video. They're going to actually play it, and it's going to play inside this little box. They know that's the first step because it says watch. Then they're going to move on to the next step, which is think. So we're going to click on that. Here I'm asking an open-ended question for the student to write their answer, and then they're going to save their answer. Their answer comes directly to me. I have to log in though to TED Ed to read their answer, but it comes directly to me. I also have the choice, and I will show you this in a minute, to make this part multiple choice question. So if you want to do a multiple choice, you can do that as well, or you can make it open-ended. Then they go to dig deeper. This is actually for additional resources to explore. Here, I just ask them another question. I just put it out there for them to keep it in their mind. They don't have to necessarily answer it yet, because this is actually where I started off. The US involvement in the Syrian refugee crisis, that's a little bit bigger and that takes a little bit longer to discuss. I just threw it out there, so when I came back the next night, it didn't come out of the blue that we were gonna talk about this. But this is a space for additional resources, and I'll show you that you can actually add more content here. So for example, you can refer to a chapter in the book. You can actually write out directions. You can add links. So maybe there's an article that you'd like them to read in conjunction with looking at the video and answering questions. There's a lot of, this is an open space. This works as the way Pages works in your Canvas. Before there was Pages, this would be the Pages piece. Then there's a discussion. So I just had one guided discussion, and this works just like discussions in Canvas, is that students participate. They can see other people's answers and continue that dialogue. So I'm going to click on it very quickly. You can see that I have 16 students that responded. So 19 did it, and only 16 did the discussion section. And so here was my question: possible solutions for refugees coming to the US, and then here are my students writing their answers in there. And I do have the ability to respond to them. And then they let me know they completed the lesson. So that is an example of one. And if you weren't on mute, you guys would all be like, wow, that's amazing. I'm kidding. It's not that amazing, but it is easy to make. All right, so I'm gonna go back to my lessons. And again, it's published is where you see the lessons that you've already created. So we're going to go ahead and create one together to just show the ease of this. And again, Canvas does do this. I mean, we just saw Oliver's example of how Canvas can do this as well. You can drop a link into Canvas. You can create discussion questions in the discussion section. You can add more stuff in the pages, and you can build that up. This to me is an alternative way to do that work. And if you find it might look more engaging to your students, then awesome, because it is free. Does it speak to Canvas? It does not speak to Canvas. So it doesn't, Canvas won't tell you, hey, students answered things in your TED Ed lesson. It won't do that. You would have to log into TED Ed in order to see that. Okay, so I'm going to go to create. So let's create a lesson together. So I'm actually going to take one of the videos that Oliver uses. Now in this search, I can put in a keyword, or I could paste in a YouTube URL that I already have. So like he said, he already knew the names of his videos. He searched them on YouTube. He found the link, put the link in Canvas. I'm going to do the same thing, and that's my other window here. This is one of the videos that he uses, the scars of stop and frisk. So I'm going to copy that YouTube, and I'm going to put it in here. it is helpful, just so you know, that to have the video that you want to use ready. So do your YouTube search on the side and just have the URL ready. It'll go a lot faster. So I put it in here and they're like, is this the video you want? I want to click yes. It gives me an opportunity to watch a little bit of the video, so I can make sure that this is the video that I'm looking for. Sometimes they're titled the same and it's not exactly like what you want. So I see the video. I could also select the closed captioning. So if I'm the student, I can select that if I want to, if I need the closed caption. So I'm like, yeah, this is the video I want. So I'm going to hit continue. Okay, and you all should be seeing now a page that has a video on the left-hand side and says get started. And we're going to click let's begin. And this is very user friendly because it literally tells you what your sentences should be, like introduce the video to your students, right? So you could say this video will support your learning of chapter 3. I could do something real simple like that, or I can give something that is more detailed. I can also give them something that sets the context of the video. Whatever that tagline, it is a tagline sentence, just go ahead and save it. Also note that you can change the font if you wanted to. So if you wanted to make that bold and you wanted to underline it, you want to italicize it, you can do all those things in there. Just hit save after every step. Just like Canvas, you have to save everything. All right, and it's encouraging, right? Tells you great work, you're almost there. So now I know students are watching the video. Then this is the think part. So in the example I showed you, I had an open-ended discussion going on for students. It was just an open question. There is an opportunity to select multiple choice. And this is very self-explanatory. You can put in the right answer, then all the wrong answers, and it actually helps you say, okay, so the computer will know, the lesson will know which one's the right answer because you'll set it that way. So that's multiple choice. So let's do a open answer question. Remember, doing multiple choice, it is doable, and there's no problem with doing multiple choice, but think about the length of your video and like how much you want to ask them. Luckily, they can keep going back and watching the video, but it might be more difficult for you to find questions throughout the video. I'm trying to make it easy. So let's say open answer question. Where it says, tell me what scares you the most, that was a question I made up for a previous lesson. So it kind of gives you, sometimes the TED Ed will show you what you've previously used. I could say, tell me your feelings after watching the video. Or explain your thoughts about something. The best thing here are questions, of course, that allow the student to refer back to their own experiences. So for the education videos, for the refugees videos, explain your experiences in the educational process, in the education system are questions that I ask. So I, for this, would say, tell me your feelings about watching this video. And I save that. Then I'm moving on to, the dig deeper. This again is supplemental information. So I could tell students, please remember to read chapter 3 and continue this lesson by answering the discussion questions. I could also, there's a link here. I could also link to another article. So I could say, please read the following article, and then maybe I have a link to another article online. So what I'm doing is I just continue building upon the original content, which was the video that they watched. And I'm adding everything about my module, but I'm adding it this way. I'm gonna go ahead and save it. This is the open-ended discussion. This is the discussion that looks like on Canvas where they could read each other's answers and respond. So they're asking, you also know it's that way because it says a prompt. So it's a prompt to start a conversation. So do you feel that stop and frisk was an unjust policy in New York? And then they could just start answering that. And I go ahead and save that. Then they have this thing, I clicked it too fast. Hold on, sorry. It says, and finally, these are actually your closing thoughts for the lesson. So if you want to remind them to now go to chapter 4 and begin reading for next week. Stay safe. You could leave a message. To conclude it, you could give them directions to keep going. These directions could even be to go back to the Canvas page and do something. Again, you're allowed to put links in here and pictures in here. So if you want to link them back to Canvas and be like, okay, now do the quiz on Canvas, or you want to say, now go see a prompt, you can do that too. You hit save. Okay, we are done. We're going to go to publish. Now there's two ways students could access this. You could have them create TED Ed accounts, and the TED Ed accounts actually are connected to, if they have a YouTube account or if they have a Facebook account, they can create TED Ed accounts, but they don't have to. And know that for these types of tools that are online, just because a student uses like their Facebook page or uses their YouTube account to create this, doesn't mean that you have access to it. So don't worry, you're not going to all of a sudden go to Facebook and they're there as a friend and they see your stuff and you see theirs. It's pretty private. I always select don't require students to use a TED Ed account. This way they can just log in and start answering, and it does ask them for their name. And that's something you can put in the Let's Begin page. So let me show you. So we are done. I'm going to say share your lesson. As you can see, this is a little bit of an older tool because it wants you to put people's email addresses in there and invite them to do this lesson. And that's kind of like an old practice. We don't need to do that. What we want is this. Copy the lesson link here. That I can put anywhere. So if Oliver wanted to, he could take this link, go into his Canvas site, and instead of dropping in the YouTube URL the way he does, he could drop in this TED Ed link, and then it'll direct the student to do the lesson from their Canvas. So that's all I need. I could also email that to students. So back in the day, again, before Canvas, I would just email all my students this lesson and say, you know, for your homework for next week, I need you to complete this TED Ed lesson. And I put the link there and they would click on it and they would go ahead and complete it. Sometimes they are completing it outside my door right before class starts. They're on their phone doing their lesson, but that's fine. The point is that they're engaged and that they're doing it. So I'm going to go ahead and X out of there. And now it's living right here under my lessons. I could always go back and edit the lesson if I wanted to. I can delete it. If I need that link again, I hit share. Once students start answering, I can start reviewing students' work there. So that is TED Ed, and that is, again, building a lesson using this type of tool. Go ahead and put your questions in the chat, and I'll ask Rebecca to go ahead and start asking Oliver and I some questions or comments.
One of the questions from Jan is, can students see each other's responses?
Yes, they can in the discussion section. So remember, there was two parts to this. There was a think. This is just for the instructor. The discussion is the open format where they can see other people's stuff.
Okay.
And that's why it looks like an ongoing discussion. Like, I forgot the word I'm looking for, but like an open, like a discussion forum. That's what it is.
Mhm. Okay. The next question is the response by Robin. Is the response just sent to the student, or can the whole discussion group see it?
Okay, so that's the same question. So again, in the discussion question, the whole group can see it. In the think part, it's just you.
Okay. Oops, sorry. All right. So from, sorry.
You're still working.
Okay. And Jennifer asked, can you talk a bit about messaging in Canvas?
So messaging about around the video.
Yes.
Is that Jennifer?
Yes.
Jennifer, do you want to talk a little bit more about your question? And everyone's unmuted right now, so you can talk.
Okay, well, she must have gotten off. All right, so.
I have a question.
Yes, your name?
Karen Koenig.
Hi, Karen.
Hi. So I use the regular TED Talks sometimes with my class. And what I really like about it is that there's also a full transcript that students can read after or before they watch it. Does this also offer that? Because I teach reading, so I like to have them listen and then read.
Well, what you could do is, I'd say yes if you choose a TED Talk and make that the video that they watch, because then,
right.
But does it automatically give you a transcript? No.
No, so just if it's a TED Talk. Okay, good. Thank you.
Okay, and does this integrate with Canvas easily? In other words, can I put your TED Ed on the Canvas page?
Yeah, so you're going to put the link and embed it the way Oliver embedded his video into the link. But the answers are not going to integrate. So that is one of the biggest differences where he could see his students, because the discussion is right there on Canvas, the videos on the pages, so it's all set there in Canvas. He just goes back and forth. Here, in order to see the answers, the instructor, logs into the TED Ed, and then you'll see the answers. And because you have to give TED Ed your email, they'll actually email you when students respond. Like you have new responses to your lesson.
Okay, and can you edit the videos if you want to show only specific minutes of it, or can you crop it?
That is a good question. I haven't figured out how to do that because it doesn't allow you to crop them in using TED Ed. It doesn't allow you to crop them.
What I do in this particular area is that I pull out about 5 points out of that particular video, and I'll count of a PowerPoint slide. The number of people that were contacted, the number of people who were not arrested or ticketed, then those within a certain racial group, and then what is the legal definition of a stop and frisk.
So you're just make up questions for part of the video, so they don't necessarily have to watch the whole thing. Is that what you're saying?
That's correct.
Okay,
That's correct.
I got it. Okay, that's a possibility too. And then remember, these are YouTube videos. So if you made a YouTube video of yourself, and I was trying to do that between Tuesday and today, and that just did not happen for me. But we do show on some of our webinar series how to make videos, and I'm thinking we should probably do that a little bit more. But you can make a video of yourself, using your cell phone. I've done this a lot for students, and I make a video kind of welcoming them to class. I make a video of me editing my own essay just to show them how to do some quick edits. Then I can put that onto YouTube, because that is easy to do. You just make a YouTube account and you can upload video. You make a YouTube and you end up having a YouTube link. And then remember, this works with YouTube links. So you could the video could be you if you wanted it to be, or it could be something that you took a video of. So especially for my folks in STEM that are working on projects and experiments and procedures, you could, if you can't find it on YouTube, you can actually just video yourself or have someone else demonstrate the steps and then make a TED Ed lesson around that by just putting the YouTube URL in there.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I have two, and please forgive
Okay.
me if the one person asked this question already and I'm
It's
repeating.
okay.
They said, Tony said, can you set discussion boards so that students don't see any, no, I'm sorry. We've already answered that question. How do you integrate it with Gradebook on Canvas from Yearin? And I hope I said that right.
So again, for TED Ed, it won't integrate with Gradebook. You would have to, so let's say, for example, you decide to give students 10 points for completing the lesson. Then what you would do is you would go into assignments on Canvas, put TED Ed lesson, assign it 10 points, and then go ahead and input grades. It doesn't work as an online quiz the way Canvas allows you to set up online quizzes and exams. You would have to do it old school and like write down their grades and then go back and enter them, which is what I still do, by the way. I'm not that fancy on the Canvas. I like to have the grade on a piece of paper just in case. Any other questions? Yes, Oliver?
Yeah, Jessica, just like you were saying, that's what I've ended up doing is put them all into the assignments area. And from there, as I make out the assignments, everyone, how long it's due and the point schedule and stuff like that, works quite well. And then I like to also add this, that Canvas to me is fantastic. I've been all the way back from WebCT to Blackboard and now
Blackboard, yeah.
I love Canvas.
I think I used to have Moodle, and then I had Blackboard, and then by the time I figured out the Blackboard thing, they gave me the Canvas, and luckily I have been using Canvas for a long time for our professional learning. We've been using Canvas for a very long time, but the setup, I mean, let's be honest, a lot of us don't have that turnaround time that it takes. For my district, we start Monday with the remote learning. And so for some people that haven't really done much in Canvas, this is kind of like that workaround until you're there. All right, so we do want to encourage you to come to our other series. And so I'm actually going to stop sharing this screen, if I can figure out how to do that. Everyone disappears when I click on this. There we go.
If I may,
yes.
I just put in the chat box, and that's the frequently asked questions, the FAQ. And please copy that link so that if there are other questions that you didn't think about now, you can pull it up there and it'll probably answer those questions.
Great, and then I also see that you have our website there. It's 3csn.org. That is where we're listing all our series that will continue to go as long as they are still needed. In your chat window, I just put in our Padlet. Padlet's another great tool to use for students, and let me see if I have it ready. Yeah, I do. I'll go ahead and share it with you. This is our Padlet. If you haven't created one yet for students, it's pretty awesome. And I say awesome because it's free and user-friendly, and to me, that defines awesome. This has resources that we are curating, but it's also community curated, which means you, so for us, 3CSN, our organization, started this. We created the topics up ahead, like you see about accessibility, Canvas basics, ELL students, equity, student learning resources, online resources, engagement, things about Zoom, articles that we are reading, student services online, terms, peer feedback online. So we select these topics and then we started adding information under all of them. And what happens is if someone goes to this, they are welcomed to actually continue and add something to the Padlet. And we are monitoring the Padlet, so Keelan will read it and then go ahead and approve it. And this is a way you could, it's source building, right? So your community brings together these resources, crowd sharing, I think that's the right word, crowd sharing of resources together in our Padlet. So I invite you to keep checking that out, especially if you're looking for resources about online teaching, student engagement, as well as things that are a little bit more specific to some folks, like counseling online or student support services online. So if you have colleagues that may be looking for that, we're also putting in some research articles that are slowly coming out from like Inside Higher Ed and other places about this transition that we're all making right now. All right. So if that is it, I thank you. Thank you, Oliver, so much. Thank you, Rebecca and Keelan, and I hope to see you guys on another one of our sessions. Again, if you have any specific questions or you want to reach out to any of us, you can go to ask@3csn.org. So ask@3csn.org if you have specific questions about anything that we showed you or just in general about remote learning, we can get that to you.
And Jessica,
all right. Yes.
I would like to thank you for bringing me through this. I was very apprehensive about this. Thank you.
It was awesome.
And I have learned something about TED that I was not aware of on lesson creation. So thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. And thank you for showing us your Canvas. I mean, it's difficult. It's like letting someone in your classroom, like, come and look and see what I'm doing. For some reason, we're not used to that. And so I appreciate you showing us what you have going on in your classroom. And I appreciate everyone for giving something a try. So if you can try one of these things, it'd be awesome for your students. So thank you. Have a good day. Have a good weekend. Stay safe and hope to see you all again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.